How to create a line visual effect like this using brushes. It's using the halftone effect in Affinity Photo, and the steps are very easy to do. Just go to the ellipse tool, select that, and click and drag and create an ellipse. Just make it very, very long from top to bottom. Once you've done that, then you can apply effect to it. Go to layer, and then down here to a live filter layer, and down to colours, and go down to halftone. Now I've gone for a colour of pink. You could of course vary the colour, but pink's a nice colour to start with. I wouldn't suggest black. Go with greens, blues, etc. So with this, go to halftone. Now you get this sort of effect. You can modify it. You've also got many other options along here with the screen. So you can go here, not monochrome, but go with line. And the line I'm going is this effect. But I don't want that. I want 50. I want to reduce it down, reduce it down, reduce it down, all the way down to maybe about 13 or 14, depending, of course, on the size of your document and the ellipse you've created. But now I've got some black and white lines all the way through that. What I can also do, because I've got that colour, the pink colour, I can go down here. So instead of normal, I can change it. I can go here, I can go run through these, and you can use maybe dark colour or go with darken, up to you. I'm going to go with that. Now I'm going to close it. And now over here in my layers panel, you can find all these in window and layers. You can now rasterize this design. Make sure it's selected. So just go over here, select the whole thing. See everything selected. The halftone effect is also selected. Right click and then down to rasterize. Well, now I've got that, what I can also do is add some additional effects to it. And the best way of doing that, with it selected, again, it needs to be selected here, go to effects down the bottom. There's little effects, layer effects. Click there. And with this, I can go up here to 3D. So 3D makes certain it's all highlighted and also the check is on. And then I can modify this radius and you can push it up, in this case 100. Well, you can also actually edit that field. So you can put it to say 300. So you could vary it depending on what you want. I think maybe 200. I think 200 is probably gives the best result. You can also, if you want, add a shadow. So I'm just going to go down here again, make certain that's highlighted, that's checked, and then change the radius and change the offset and intensity. And now you've got this lovely effect here. Click close. Again, I'm going to rasterize it because what I want is that to be all one single pixel layer with no effects. So go to layer and rasterize. And here, there's an option here, preserve. I want to just turn that off. So just turn that off and rasterize. Now I could use this. Perfectly reasonable. Could use this as a brush. To define as a brush, go over here to brushes. Now, you notice I've got here halftone brushes. Created a category. Well, how to create a category? What you can do, just go over here and create new category. So right side menu, create new category. That just adds one for say halftone, anything you want to create. Whole load of different designs all around the theme of halftone. Go to the menu up here, click here and down here to new brush from selection. It's going to be using that design as the selection. So new brush from selection, and you got that. Well, that's good. You can use it to create some interesting designs. But if you want a slightly weird and wonderful design like I created, sort of worm-like unusual one, what you need to do is slightly deform it. But I like to always save it as a brush here as well, just so I can go back to it at a later point. Well, make sure you've got the move tool selected. Key thing, that layer selected. And then go to filters and distort and deform. And with that, you can just click here, and you can click around it. I would suggest around there, and you can also, if you want, go in the center. You can add a number of these pins. But now what you can do is you can just drag inwards. And you can drag inwards like that as well. And that's the reason I put them outside. So it just pushes in. Now sometimes you might find it doesn't select it, but you can just drag it in there. And drag it in there. And also you can decide, you know what, I want to drag that out. So it makes it a bit bigger, maybe at the top like that. And maybe add some more and just drag that to create some all kinds of unusual shapes and designs. So once you've got that, you can click apply. This pixel layer can now still be defined as a brush. Just go to brushes here, again, window and brushes. With that, right side menu, new brush from selection. And you can see now you've got this. Now, with this image, it's very hard to see that there's really any difference, but there is subtle difference. So let's just remove that now, double click, and you can see design there. And the great thing about this, you can actually select the brush. Let's just go over here, select the brush tool, paintbrush tool, make certain that's selected, with this panel displayed, because you can now edit it and tweak it. So I'm just going to reduce the size down a little bit, maybe make it slightly smaller, increase or decrease the spacing value so it's all crunched up. Also, you can go here to dynamics, and this is where the magic happens. You can go to hue jitter, something like that. You get this lovely effect here. Also rotation jitter, and also size jitter. Now I've got this as pressure, and I've got this one a random rotation and also random hue. They're the defaults. Now I can apply it, and you can see the result. There it is. Very quick, unusual design. Now, of course, you can, again, if you think, you know what, that one isn't exactly what I want, you can always, of course, use the old one. You can always save it maybe to an asset. So if you don't want to delete it, you just want to use it maybe at a future point, you can always just drag that design, that layer, over into the assets, and then you can always bring it back and just edit the design and then tweak it, and then again save it as a new brush. Now once you've got this, and you can modify it further, so you can modify the saturation jitter, you can also go for scatter, all kinds of things, and just apply it again like that, and you can vary it. Now if you've got an art pad and pen, you can also vary it even more. You can modify it, say maybe random here, and you can see then get different sizes like that, up to you. All kinds of different designs can be created using this approach. What you can also do is you can distort this design, and the lines really make it quite an interesting image afterwards. So let's just close this now. And you can, of course, go here. Now, you know, sometimes when you go here, this doesn't get updated. Not certain why. Sometimes also it doesn't always record everything. So you might have to go back to it and just tweak it slightly. But that seems to be just an odd glitch in Affinity Photo. Well, let's just now move that out of the way. Go over here, select the move tool. Key thing, move tool, because I'm going to use the deform. So filters, go to distort and deform. And lines, like I say, work really well with this, because now you can add some pins. Now, if you were still using the paintbrush tool, it would have a problem. Sometimes it just means you can't select the actual pins. But now with the move tool, you can see you can just drag, click it like that and drag, and you get this lovely line effect, just pulled out. It all, and again, sometimes it doesn't even work. You just have to get exactly on the right position. You can drag this and distort this in all kinds of ways. Now, I like to drag it outwards. The reason being is that you end up this problem where you've got a little bit of white gap appearing here. Don't like that. Even more if you repeat this deform effect. So click here and then drag, and then click again and drag. Now, I would always suggest having a quick check around to see that you haven't got any white around there, so you can see the bottom layer. So at this point, I don't see anything, so I'm quite happy with that. And now I can click apply. And there you've got that slightly distorted design. And of course, you can go and apply it again, go to filters and repeat deform. And the thing is, because you, of course, voided the white in the first place, now this doesn't appear anywhere here. So filters repeat deform, though it's quite possible it might somehow appear, but you can always avoid it just by checking around each time you apply it to see if the distortion works really nicely. And of course, you can always go to filters, distort and deform, and just tweak this deform effect. So that is how to create some interesting designs with the halftone brush. And I'm just going to quickly show you the other brushes I've created. So I've got this design, these line ones, but also I created some earlier. So let's just quickly go through these. And image brush there. Now you can change the name, of course. You can always rename them. I haven't done that, but you can rename. You can see rename categories, etc. You can right click and you can edit brush and rename brush. So you can change them if you don't want image brush, and simply select it. Oops. Make certain you actually apply the brush. There's the brush, paintbrush tool, and you can see this design. So you've got a lovely, and it's done in exactly the same way, just by creating a shape, very basic shape, in this case a rectangle, and then applying again the halftone effect, but using a blend mode so you can see the actual white dots there. Also another one, let's just click here. You can see this one's got more of a scatter effect in it. Also another one, let's just play this one. This is just a blue design, so you've got a lovely blue design, again with a bit of rotation modification there. And another one here, this one's a slightly distorted one. This is created using the color halftone effect, and you can see you can create some interesting halftone effects using this. Also, let's just drag down a bit. There's another one here, and it's using obviously the same design again, but this time using the hue, obviously dynamics as well, just to modify it slightly. And let's just go down a bit further. Here's another one, and this one's got a blurring effect with the line effect as well, so you can create lovely blur effects with your lines to create some really interesting designs. Again, at any point you can always go up here to filters, repeat, deform, and distort the design. So filters, repeat, deform, to see effects like that very quickly. Also, again, let's go down here. There's another one. You got this sort of lovely sort of color dots that change all the way along. And let's just select another one. This one's got obviously a rotation element involved. Another one, and you can see the approach with the rectangle and lines and so on. You can see you can create a variety of different designs like that. And you can see next one, this one, which was the start point, basically exactly the same as the one I've demonstrated. You can distort it and modify it in all kinds of ways, maybe thinner points at certain places, thicker at other points as well. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.